up, everybody? Speaking Out is blowing up Twitter, and pro wrestlers are dropping like flies. We're going to talk about all that this week. Welcome. It's Sunday night to the Illuminerdi World Order Wrestling Show. I'm one of your illustrious hosts, Jay LaBeouf, and let me bring in my right hand, Nate Cass Skills. Nate, what's going on with you tonight?
I am okay. It is Father's Day, and I appreciate that. And I like to say that I am not a stepfather. I am a father that happened to meet his daughter when she was 14.
Oh, I love that.
That's my sensitive comment of the week.
That's so sweet. That's your bonus daughter. Like, that's the new thing.
Yes.
Like, bonus daughter. Well, that's awesome. Well, Happy Father's Day to you. Father's Day critical. Happy Father's Day to any of the fathers that are tuning in on Sunday night. You know, it's your day. My dad's favorite joke. I used to ask him, Dad, when is Father's Day? 9 months after Mother's Day. That was my favorite joke. So shout out to my dad. Rest in peace. I miss you. Before we talk about wrestlers behaving badly, and that's probably why I started drinking. I've been on this kick because I'm an old lady now. I'm 45. And
that is far from an old lady.
I'm a grandma. I just colored my hair and everything. And I've been drinking all these like stupid hard seltzer drinks. And so far, I've liked High Noon. Shout out to them for sending me a little branded gear. But tonight, I'm drinking this Vizzy hard seltzer. And it's disgusting. Just... It's gross.
Well, there goes that sponsor.
Yeah, but what's most important though is it's got antioxidants.
Well, yeah.
What's important in your hard seltzer? Antioxidants, especially in this time of Corona. What are you drinking, Nate?
Yeah, that's borderline like when I see those commercials for Michelob Ultra. And it's like people are like shredded coming out of the gym or like doing yoga or like all these like hiking, and they're just like Michelob Ultras for the exercise alcoholic in you. You know what I mean? It's like,
that's the best. The exercise alcoholic in you.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't understand. Why don't they just drink vodka? It's like 90 calories per serving, which is less than 100.
I'll tell you why, because if you have a few vodkas that size and water, you're going to be a lot more shit-faced than you would be if you were having that seltzer. But it's like we were talking about prior to we came on today. I just turned 40, and I believe that my love affair with beer might be over. I know. A lot of people are disappointed. Yeah. Yes.
What happened? Was there like a tipping point that took you off of the beer train?
It's too filling. It makes me full. It makes me bloated. I don't, you know what I mean? Like I would rather, drink. I used to say that my favorite when Budweiser came out with the Limeritas, and then they started coming out with different flavors. I used to say on my old podcast, like I'm for anything Arita. You know what I mean? But then I've switched. I'm not gonna lie, and this is not even a plug. Mike's Hard Lemonade. I'm all about it. I'm not gonna lie. It gives you a sweet 8% buzz after about 45 minutes. You're not super bloated. It's a little feminine. I get it. I don't care at this point. I'm
drink whatever you want.
Exactly, but I do enjoy vodka, like you said. If I don't have anything to do the next day and I don't just need a quick buzz in between my marijuana intake, Mike's Hard Lemonade is kind of the way I go. Yes.
I'm not mad at that. I am mad at that.
Speaking of, before we get into this week's debacle of sexual harassment, Half Baked was on yesterday on Showtime, and that is my favorite comedy of all time. And I don't fucking care if it's because I was 16 or 17 when it came out. That movie is hilarious. And I was watching it with my girlfriend, and I was quoting like every line, and she literally like paused it and went, if we're gonna do this, you can't. I can't with you. You can't just quote every line. And I understood, but shout out to Half Baked.
Man, Half Baked is the bomb. The bombest part for me in that movie was when they were trying to break in the one spot and they got caught and they were dressed like dead presidents. And it's one, started doing like a mime. That sent me over the edge. But shout out to Half Baked. That is a favorite of mine.
Samson, look, I'm sorry. that was okay. I'm sorry. We're getting off topic.
That's okay. We need all the levity we can get because these allegations are crazy. I feel like every time I refresh Twitter or I leave Twitter and I come back, there are allegations on allegations on allegations. So for those of you who don't know what we're talking about, although you guys are informed fans, there has been an explosion of sexual misconduct, sexual harassment, sexual battery. I don't even know.
All of it. All the sexual crimes.
Things that involve consent
yes.
were happening this week in professional wrestling, and not even on one brand in particular.
All of them
got rid of people. AEW got rid of people. Indies got rid of people. It's just out of control.
It's not even sexual consent crimes. It got so deep with Jim Cornette that it was like whatever it's called when you like fucking hypnotize somebody to like come into your like household. Like remember I remember a while back there was that actress cuckolding is when you like to watch your wife,
which he was doing too.
Oh, he was. See, these are things I don't even know. But what like wasn't a while back there was like an actress that like took part in sending underage chicks to like an island and like to get into some cult. Like the fact that Jim Cornette, and now listen, outside of this situation, and I like Jim Cornette. In terms of wrestling, right. I think he's funny. I agree with a lot of his political views, especially when it comes to Trump and all the shit that's happening now. I know we don't get into that on this show, but I do agree with that. But I was heartbroken. I was like, Jim, I know. You had to put the tennis racket on her, huh?
Some of them, the cuckolding one is what killed me. Is that he and his wife are in on it. And he would send the wife to go get the male wrestlers and to tell them they weren't getting booked unless they was down with. And that's, I don't even know what to say about that.
Really? And see, now you're telling me a little more part of the story than I know. So you're saying, was this an OVW or?
I think it's been taking place the entire time. Like, once he got married and he found like a worthy henchman in a spouse, they were just kind of pulling up on these young kids who wanted to just get booked and wrestle and get out there and kill it. And were essentially being told, well, if you want to get in the ring, you got to get up in my wife.
It's Harvey Weinstein style. These were dudes? Oh, break. Okay, hold on. I thought that these were women that were being involved in.
Not to the women allegations. These are the cuckolding with male wrestlers.
No wonder you brought that up. Holy shit! Really?
I'm just saying.
And
type cuckold.
And I'm not gonna lie, Master Shake 61, who's always in the chat, my boy Pumps. He usually sends me the information via text or whatever because he knows we do the show or whatever. He's on the team, if you will.
Sure.
And he sent me that article, and I legit like kind of skimmed it and assumed that it was females that were being involved with Jim Cornette and his wife. I have no idea that it was male wrestlers trying to get booked. Wow.
Here is, it all popped off for me on Friday. I wasn't watching SmackDown because it's on delay here in Los Angeles, which is like the dumbest thing I've ever heard of since Fox is headquartered here. Why we can't have it in real time like everybody else, but you know, whatever. It's all good unless you watch it on your computer. And I like dozed off and I woke up and I just saw all these wrestler names trending. And it was and I saw a tweet that said something like, what is life? Jim and cuckolding, Carmella and golden showers, and then sexual misconduct allegations. And then after that, lady wrestler after wrestler after wrestler after wrestler after wrestler came out and talked about everything from grooming to being underage to being assaulted to
grooming. That's what that's the thing that's the word I was thinking of, grooming.
And I mean, these are not like, you know, low-level guys that no one's heard of. Jack Gallagher got released this week from Gentleman Jack, not so gentlemanly. He got
fold up the umbrella, Jack.
He apparently forcing women allegedly to do sexual things to him. David Lagana of NWA.
But hold on. But for what though? What is the I get it when like Harvey Weinstein or these awful producers are like, yo, I can put you in a movie, I can jumpstart your career, but you're gonna have to do X, Y, and Z. Like, what the fuck is Jack Gallagher providing?
The specific allegations against him was him being in the car. I can't remember if it was a regular civilian person or another wrestler, and him grabbing their head and forcing them to do some toppy, and it's atrocious.
It's awful. I just don't see, like, how does that work? Like, who the fuck is Gentleman Jack Gallagher unless you're like a wrestling rat? Like, unless you're like a chick. Not that it's okay whatsoever. That's awful. But how would you even know who he was unless you were following the industry, I guess? And where do you get off as Jack Gallagher? Like, listen, I get it, bro. You made it. You're on the big show. But, like, why would you jeopardize? It's like the dude from 70s show, right? Like that cat got popped, right?
Sure did.
And this is my deal, and I just want to preface this by saying, like, I think that like sexual assault and rape and all that stuff is terrible, and it is awful, and it should never happen. It just kind of sucks as a dude. Like, I don't like, what's that guy named? Danny Masterson, right? Is that his name? The that 70s show guy? Mm-hmm. Now, if you accuse somebody of something, it's almost like you're guilty immediately, whether or not it happened or there was any investigation or anything whatsoever. And that goes both ways. If a guy says that a girl did whatsoever, it's like, because of social media, your name gets dragged through the mud immediately. And that Danny Masterson stuff was like 15 years ago or 20 years ago. And I'm not here to tell any person or woman when it's okay to be ready to talk about some awful shit that happened to you, because I get it. You know, you might need the courage and you might need whatever. It just sucks that you can just say that, and without any investigation or whatever, like, it's just a rap for the person that's accused. And it's the same thing. Like, we're about to go through all of these wrestlers, and our first inclination is, yeah, these motherfuckers probably did it. You know what I mean? And we don't know one way or another, but it's just social media nowadays. It's like the pitchfork and the fucking torches from Frankenstein. You know what I'm saying? Like,
ogre.
Yeah.
The ogre.
Yes, exactly. And unfortunately, pro wrestling, I mean, just based on its history, the dudes are probably in the wrong. I'm not gonna lie. Like, they're most likely in the wrong. But when it's like a big name famous actor, and I know I'm filibustering, but when it's a big name famous actor, I kind of sometimes go like, why would they go to that extreme just to get laid?
That's the thing that never makes sense about it to me as well. Like with Robert Kraft, the owner of the Patriots, how they found him in Jupiter, Florida, in like a little dirty strip mall bathhouse, getting some top from an undocumented woman, and that's such trash. I mean, this is like the richest man in the world, among the richest people in the universe, and you could literally make a phone call and get whatever you want at any time.
Have people sign NDAs, the whole deal.
The whole deal. There are plenty of women, I know some personally, who are with the shenanigans, and they're with
and that's fine. I'm all for you. Want to be sex workers are all good. It's it's the oldest profession, they say. It's not, you know what I mean?
Or even with these wrestlers, I don't understand it. I know there are plenty women who go to wrestling shows who are down, are down with Jack Gallagher, who are down with Matt Riddle, who also had some allegations.
So what was his deal? What was Riddle's deal? Because I know he's like married and stuff, correct?
Correct. So Matt Riddle, he was debuted on SmackDown this week.
Yes, I saw that with AJ.
Candy Cartwright accused him of pressuring her into sex acts. I haven't read the full story because there's just been so many of when it occurred or how it occurred or when it happened, but he ain't gonna be on no SmackDown after this, I can tell you that.
And she's another wrestler?
Yes, I don't think she's a WWE wrestler. It may have happened. I don't know if it happened in NXT. I don't know if it happened when they were independent or when it happened, but this lady wrestler, Candy Cartwright, says that she and Matt Riddle pressured her into some allegations. And
I just sometimes I don't understand the motive. Like if that happened, I don't know. Listen, I'm not one to speak, but it's kind of like
oh Matt, you Nate, you don't want them hating you.
Exactly. And listen, I don't care, but like it's like the Enzo thing, like where Enzo had all those issues, and then it turned out that she was full of shit. And
with Swan.
Yeah, it was with Swan, exactly. And it fucking ruined their shit. You know what I'm saying? But go on.
No, I mean, I'm agreeing with you. There was no ramifications for them. They don't get to come back.
Right.
There's always that, whenever they come back and it's a family brand. And
well, people are afraid that like corporations and companies and all that kind of shit, they're afraid of the mob. So if those allegations come out and they keep them cats, then the mob comes out and is like, what are you doing? You're harboring a fucking blah, blah, blah. And it's like the whole like innocent until proven guilty thing is listen, I know that hasn't been a factor for minorities for a long time. I get that. And it just now for celebrities, it's the exact same thing. And people are like upset about it. And it's like, maybe that might change the other thing. You know what I'm saying? Like maybe like, I don't know. It just seems like a money grab sometimes. And that's unfortunate. Like I saw Matt Riddle at PWG, a handful of years ago, and he wasn't making any money or whatever. It's like, but now all of a sudden he's in the E and he's famous, and now you want to accuse him of some shit. It's like I don't know. It just seems like a money grab.
It's tough. It's tough to determine.
It is.
The courage thing and why something would have happened, because we're deep into the Me Too movement now for a couple years, and you just never know when the trigger is. Maybe the trigger was seeing him debut on the main roster because SmackDown's on Fox, and maybe that was just kind of the last button on Gable's coat kind of thing, and she couldn't take it anymore, and it's really, really scary. I mean, also in WWE, the current NXT champion Jordan Devlin, also accusations this week, and he says that he's going to fight that. He says that is false. He didn't do it. But it's just.
Yeah, I mean, you have to almost. You have to, and the other thing too is that whether it's male or female, it doesn't matter. If somebody's accusing somebody else of something and it really hurts their brand or their work, usually the accuser isn't as well off as the accused.
Yeah.
So it's like the accused can win in court and they can sue the other person and they can do all these things, but social media doesn't know all that because there's no story.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like it's only a story if people get popped. And I mean, you know, like I said, the odds that most of these dudes being douchebags on the road with chicks are it's probably more a fact than a fiction. It just sucks that immediately it's like, oh my God, you're bad, you're bad, you're bad, you're bad, you're bad, when you don't really know enough about it other than a tweet or a, you know, whatever. Now what did you say about Carmella?
So Carmella, so Corey has his podcast. I can't remember the name of Corey's podcast. I haven't listened to it. I can barely keep up with our show. So Corey has a podcast, and Carmella was his guest this week, and they were talking. I don't even know how they even went down that road. I just heard that clip of it, and they're talking about sexual acts to a certain extent. And Corey says something about peeing, and Carmella goes, "Yes, golden showers." And so from her saying that, it just went to, oh my God, Carmella is into the R. Kelly drip, 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 drip. Go
right.
in showers, go in showers. And I don't know, Carmella, are you into golden showers? You know what? No, sorry, it's none of our business. If you like Corey pissing on you, that's none of our business. But I think it was blown out of proportion. I think it was just Carmella being Carmella and just being funny with her man. It was just like, ooh, golden showers.
Carmella's with Corey Graves?
Nate.
No, I swear to God, I thought Corey Graves was like married with like a couple of kids.
He was. So he and Carmella, supposedly he was already separated from his wife when they began hooking up. But
they did a Bray Wyatt JoJo thing?
Yeah, it ended up being like a story plot on Total Divas where...
Wow, I'm so out of the loop on that.
Out somewhere, someone saw them, or I don't know. No, the wife, Corey Graves' wife, posted like a picture with her and the kids and talking about like bitches be home wrecking type of a post. Woo! Woo!
Wow.
Together for a little bit now. Like it was a big contentious thing. When they were filming Total Divas, they were in Florida or wherever she's from or he's from, and people were walking in the streets like, you goddamn home wrecker!
Wow.
We're very well known. It's like a little town, and they were just giving Carmella the blues. She wasn't moonwalking out of that.
No, she was not. And that actually surprised me because isn't Corey Graves' podcast like under the WWE umbrella? It's not like a separate thing, right? It's like. And for them,
loves it. Vince probably loves it because
for sure, that's good shit, pal.
With each other, then they're staying their asses at work. At the end of the day, you know,
fair enough.
Familiarity type of thing, like workplace affairs and all that, and they're on the road all the time. Imagine about the shit we don't hear about.
100%. It's like the wrestling industry reminds me a lot of the movie industry. In terms of like I grew up on a movie set. Like my mom was a costume designer, my dad's a prop guy. Like I'm an only child, so like I was on movie sets a lot when I was a kid. And there's nothing that ruins relationships more than not only time away from your spouse, but you're around all these attractive people all the fucking time. And
all night.
And especially like you'll see actors and actresses that have to do like love, like look at Brad Cooper and Lady Gaga. If you tell me they didn't fuck on the set of that or on during that film, I cannot believe that 1,000,000%. And
hey, even more famously, Look at Brad Pitt and Angelina Jolie.
100%.
On Mr. and Mrs. Smith.
Right. They hook it up. Jennifer Aniston the deal, and then what happens? You know, you just end up being. And then I saw this week that Machine Gun Kelly is now with Megan Fox, and because they were doing a movie, and then they hooked up, and then afterwards she told Brian Austin Green, I want a divorce. And then, you know what I mean? It's like, it's just, movies are like the fucking, it's like a den of sin for people. You know what I'm saying? Like, and that's not even in front of camera. That's why my parents got divorced. My parents were together for 9 years, and she was on one movie and he was on another movie, and they were never together. And they came home for a few weeks, and, you know, my dad got with another chick and my mom got with another dude. And then, you know, it's you just don't see each other a lot, and it sucks, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, not like the old days where you had one phone in your house, long-ass cord, and couldn't nobody call and talk to your daddy without your mama answering the phone. It's not like
1 million percent.
The phones and your apps, and now just workplace. It's just very messy.
Yeah.
Messy. But
so I have another question for you.
Okay.
Since you know, my mind is being blown on some of these things, and I don't know. What's the Joey Ryan deal?
So Joey Ryan has been accused of multiple acts of sexual misconduct. So
in the ring or out? Because he asks people to grab his dick during his matches. So this is really strange to me.
Outside of the ring. But here's the kicker. Other male wrestlers are coming out like, whatever them chicks say you did that. You are a creep. You are disgusting, and you need to be taken down. I said, oh my.
It's like he's living his gimmick. The dick wrestler is out there fucking slanging his dick backstage.
You know what all this reminds me of? It reminds me of like those old school commercials where it was like some guy owned a car lot or a mattress company, and he'd have like all these blonde broads like helping him sell the products, and he was like sleeping with all the chicks who want to be like Bob Barker. Like,
yes, exactly.
It's the same kind of thing. I get that wrestlers and people in that industry are like carnival people because they're traveling all over, and it's kind of like a familiarity type of thing. But I think you could get some ass without assaulting someone. I think it would be, especially big hot wrestlers, like.
Yeah, listen, I've never been in that situation. I'll go into one quick scenario. Like, I rap, you know, I do music or whatever, and I opened up for a dude once at a venue, and there was 300 or 400 people there, and it was fucking awesome. It was one of my favorite shows I've ever done. But him and I were in the green room together, right? So we shared the green room. So after the show was over, I had to go up to the green room to get my backpack and my shit, whatever.
Right.
And I go up there, and it is like out of, what the fuck is that? Caligula. It's like out of the movie Caligula. People are like, chicks are up there, they're flashing, people are on people's laps, they're drinking whiskey, they're doing blow. And like, now listen, I like all that stuff. I'm not gonna lie.
It's lit.
Right, it's lit. But I did have a girlfriend that was waiting for me downstairs, and I was like, I gotta go. But so I go up and I get my backpack, and like these two chicks push me down, and they sit on my lap, and they go, hey, you were the guy that opened up, right? And I'm like, yeah. And they're like, oh, awesome. Da 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 da. Didn't know a fucking thing about me. And I was, and now if I didn't have a girlfriend, this would be a wholly different story. But I ended up was like, yeah, blah blah blah, and I ended up bailing. But as I was walking out of that place, I just thought to myself, like, could you imagine that on like Aerosmith level, or Dr. Dre level, or Drake, where like every other night they're in a 30,000 person arena, and guys and girls are just throwing, you can have anything you want at any moment.
It's not for everybody.
That's what I'm saying. Like, I'm just like, I would be dead in fucking months. I just couldn't. But to that point, it's like, but then when they get accused of these things, I often think back as the pro athlete thing, like you're used to getting whatever you want all the time, 24 hours a day. And the minute somebody, whether it's a girl or a guy, tells you, yo, I don't give a fuck who you are, I'm not into that. Then it like flips a switch, like, what? I can't have this? Then I'm gonna force myself upon, you know what I mean? And that's where
I think, and I agree with you. I think one of two things or several things happen. You have that instance when you're used to getting whatever you want, a girl tells you no. I think that the vice manifests itself in different ways. You have the guys who will forcibly take it because they've got some type of thing in them that's disgusting and creepy, and they have to force themselves on people. Or you have ones that become alcoholics and they drown it in drinks and drugs. And then you just have some of those people who bottle it all in and channel it in into working out and being focused. And, you know, hard. I mean, I think there's very few people who are like that per capita in that type of industry. But and then on the flip side, from the female point of view, you know, men and women are motivated completely different in completely different ways.
1000%.
We think of the female superstars. Are there some female superstars out there who are just super lit like that? Like, you come back to the room. I'm sure there is.
Right. But here's the thing, though, is that a guy isn't going to, if I'm in the crowd and I'm single and Sasha Banks rolls up and she's just like, yo, my wardrobe making husband isn't on the tour this week. Would you like to come back to the Radisson? You know, probably going to say yeah.
He want the smoke. Wow, it's hard. You know, I see why. I mean, and that right there is why so many of them marry each other. No quicker way to get yourself out of that problem is to take your ass with you on the road.
Yeah, well, that's like they used to say, like back in the day, like I listened to all the Pritchard podcasts and all those things, and the you know, the old school thing was like never or your wife or your significant other around the boys. Around the locker room, because it's just a recipe for disaster. And remember that feud that Jake Roberts and Rick Rude had, where like she was in the crowd and then Rick Rude went and like gave her a kiss and then he rolled out with like the most fucking amazing heel tights of all time, where he had his
with the
wife's face on it. Yeah, exactly. Which was incredible. But she was on the road because Jake was getting too fucked up and he couldn't take care of himself on the road in terms of he couldn't extracurricular activities. So it was like, yo, I'll bring my wife. And then not to say that she hooked up with Rick Rude or anything, but and then that they ended up getting divorced. It's like it's a circus. And I, you know, sometimes I think that they feel that the only way to have a semblance of a normal relationship is to just be with people that are also in the circus.
Yeah.
Because they get it.
Until you get bored with them, and then then you have a JoJo situation or
Fair enough.
You know, you just never know.
Yeah.
I don't, you know, I'm not built for that because I'm kind of crazy. So I couldn't do the whole, you know, man on the road type of thing, because I'm the type to pop up. Look what the hell's going on.
Yes.
You know, I'm that type of girl, because
and you're not wrong for that, because being
that type of guy.
Yes, and you're not wrong for that, because whether it's a guy or a girl, like I was in old relationships where my significant other was way more famous than me, and she had to go, and it takes a certain individual with what's the word I'm looking for? You have to be confident in yourself to have a significant other that is wanted the minute they step out of the house. And you have to go on.
Do you know how different this Illuminerdi wrestling show would be? I'd be behind bars.
There, see, that's what I'm saying.
Calling in on the phone. You have a call from an inmate at the Twin Towers Correctional Facility.
And that would probably be our best episode ever.
Somebody's ass, and then they locked me up.
Right. Yeah, you have to be able to be confident enough to not to go, listen, I know that my significant other is going to be out there on television or doing whatever they're doing, and I have a regular ass job, but I am comfortable enough with the fact that they love me or whatever to, be okay with it.
And someone has to make it work. Edge seems to make it work.
Sure.
The Usos, they have their other issues, but it's never them,
Right.
Naomi, and, they make it work. And then the other brother, he's lucky, he has his brother, his sister-in-law there. So his wife is happily at home, Kofi, and Kofi seems to make it work. And some of them do, but a lot of them don't. And it's rough, and it's rough. But, where do we go from here? Now, in the light of all these allegations and speaking out and, being a female superstar in an industry where everything is about your look, about your body, about everything, and writing storylines, the creative, like look at the whole thing with Mandy Rose and Otis, and have we come to that point now in wrestling and pro wrestling as a whole, not just WWE, where you have to eliminate those type of storylines altogether? Because some of them, when they're done right, they're excellent.
Yes.
Is that the solution? At least beginning to change the culture? Do you stop as a creative team writing those type of stories?
It gets toxic. I mean, look at Rusev and Lana. Like every week, I watched Lana in the bed with Bobby Lashley, and I'm just like, if you're Rusev, you just gotta go, okay. Like, it's one thing if it's in a movie or in a soap opera and it's like a week. They ran that storyline into the
and even on top of that, and this is how the beginnings start of it, you don't just pop up at work when you're performing and just be like, hey, we're going to be in bed together today. Is that cool? Cool. You have to spend some time together establishing the chemistry.
Right.
How's the scene going to work? And with that, you're establishing the scene. You take a break and you go, oh, that was so fun. I wish I had fun with Rusev like that. I wish I had fun with my wife like that. Let's have fun with each other. And then boom. Then you're
1,000,000% correct. It's just, it's so I don't know. Vince. I don't know. Yeah, Vince, you're right. It's he loves that shit. He loves it. And we've talked about it, multiple times, that there's real life shit is more interesting than the stuff that they make up, which is okay, but the stuff that you make up can't be so fucking awful to one person that it makes people cringe. Like you're going for the wrong angle. I feel, you know what I mean?
I agree.
Now hold on. Now, this could be the mark in me. Are Otis and Mandy Rose like actually a couple though?
No, I was watching this. I was watching Ride Along. They did an episode of Ride Along on the WWE Network, and Otis and Mandy were in one car, and the other car was, I think it was the Street Profits. I think it was those. Yeah, they were paired up, and so Mandy is so funny. I have a lot of really, really beautiful girlfriends. I always have like a lot of hot chicks. I should have been like a madam or something. Oh, no. Sorry. Wrong topic. But anyway, I have a lot of really good looking female friends. And I watched Mandy do this Ride Along with Otis. And Otis, I'm sure he's the sweetest guy, so nice. But you can tell she ain't, I mean, from the outside looking in, it just looks like she ain't feeling that. Like she's them kind of like, oh, this is so funny. Like, no, I don't think she's with the shenanigans.
It's kind of like the whole school or everybody wants you to be together, so you kind of just go, okay, like we'll be together, like because the internet wants it or whatever, and then you just kind of go along with it. Yeah.
Mandy's a workout chick. I mean, like for real, she's not just hot, but she's just like a fitness type of woman.
Right.
It's about that life, and Otis is definitely not. He's cool for, invite him over to the barbecue and yeah. Oh, yeah. You know, have them do the worm during the drunken electric slide barbecue. But other than that, I mean, you know, but I like to see the regular guy get the Hydra. I think it's
sure. That's why I thought for a second that they were actually like a thing off camera. Well, I'm just. I mean, listen. Fuck is his name? Braun Strowman and the Harley Quinn chick a couple?
No, he has a lady who is.
Oh, okay, all right.
He's got like a super buff blonde, like a Charlotte type of lady.
Because now I don't know what's real and what's not, apparently, after the whole Corey Graves Carmella thing.
Yeah. You see them together. She just looks so young next to him. But
Right.
that's a grown, consenting woman, so she can do
for
whatever
sure.
she like. But yeah, she look a little too, you know, she look early 20s, and Corey got to be pushing like in the 45. Corey like my age, so
Yeah. Well, fine wine, Jay. We are in the fine wine era of our lives.
You feel me?
But yeah, to answer your question, I would like to see the E maybe scale down the fucking sexual storylines, but
Yeah.
amidst all this, but or not, I don't know. Their show's awful anyway.
It's
like
gonna
I don't really care what they're doing until crowds get back anyway.
Exactly. So with that, along with that, couple takeaways. I'm just ready for them to get this Sasha Bailey thing going.
Yeah.
I saw a stat thing today that said Sasha and Bailey performing in the main event on SmackDown on Friday brought in more viewers than Chris Jericho in the exact same slot over at AEW.
Oh,
so
really?
Outperformed Chris Jericho. So, wow. Kudos.
Girls, yeah.
Okay, girl power of the boss, and Bailey and her senator white hair, and
yeah, her Karen hair.
Good for them. Good for them. I'm not feeling her senator white hair. But after the little side ponytail, anything is a step up.
Fair enough.
I like heel Bailey, so I'm with it. Another thing that came out, I think it was last week or this week, that I thought I have to give a shout out to my good friend Andreas Hale, who is a sports writer over at Sporting News, and he did a panel with Kofi, Big E, and Woods, and they did a whole panel, and I'm shocked and amazed that WWE published it on their YouTube channel, where they talked about their own interactions with police, with Black Lives Matter, with everything that's going on right now. And Big E literally broke my heart. You know, I'm used to these diversity panels and talking about things that were going on, but he was just so passionate. He was in tears, just pleading what he had to say, to the point that he made we know Woods is very sensitive, but Big E's just impassioned, just asking people, please lead with empathy. That's all I ask you above else. And so kudos to WWE. You know, I don't give you your kudos very often, but kudos for publishing that. And I'm glad Big E felt safe to get that off his chest, because he felt it just was very emotional. And just hearing him say it, like, it scares me when people are crying out so loudly.
Sure.
And I'm glad he had the opportunity to get her to be heard. So
I mean, that just tells you that was built in him for a long time.
Yeah.
And when it comes out like that, it sucks for wrestlers. And before we finish up the show or whatever, but it sucks for wrestlers that the audience or the viewers, whether you like wrestling or not, don't know how to separate what they see on television from their real life.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? So, like, you see Edward Norton, and you don't go, that motherfucker was a Nazi. And I saw him, because I saw him in American History X.
Right.
But no matter what you do on TV as a wrestler, people immediately just go, yo, that's you. That's you. Yeah. And that's just part of the job description. And it sucks. It's sometimes for them dudes, like, because then you get under the umbrella and a dude like Big E, who probably has wanted to talk about that for weeks or months or whatever, can't, because people don't know how to distinguish the pancake throwing, heavy of the New Day from a real dude that has real life situations that he's passionate about. Right. And it's just too bad that wrestlers don't. It's like Sergeant Slaughter. People got all upset because they found out that he wasn't really in the army. It's like, that fucking upset you? Right. Like, you were walking around going, Sergeant Slaughter is an American hero. It's like, who cares? He's a wrestler.
So many wrestlers are like that, and they're nothing like. Sometimes they're not even the same nationality of the character.
Yeah, exactly.
Come on, people. It's a performance. I mean, they're athletes, but it's still a performance. They have lives when they leave the ring. I would like to see more. I would like to see that addressed more. Like, because people will go, okay, well, your Edward Norton thing. Well, we saw him in that movie, and then 6 months later, he was somebody else. But in wrestling, you're the same dude every Monday night. And I get that. But so are soap opera actors. Yes.
That don't have an off season. And they're the evil person that poisoned his sister's drink and took control of the fucking family fortune or whatever. And those people don't walk around and go, you bitch, you poisoned your brother. They just go, you're an actor. But it's like, people are quick to yell that wrestling's fake, but then can't distinguish between their on-screen persona and their personal life. And I hope that wrestlers, like you just said, that Big E, can come out and tell people how they feel more.
Nate, how come the doors were never locked on the soap operas? How come always and steal the baby? Do you know how many times I've seen somebody break into Asa Buchanan's house and steal a baby? Rich people lock their doors, because apparently y'all don't lock your doors. I lock my doors faithfully every night because I'm definitely not. Every rich person's show, it's so easy for someone to just walk in. So, and they don't use the bathroom either.
No, or eat.
But they're always going to like the charity ball where someone gets murdered or something like that.
Yeah, and their clothes are always super ironed. Nothing is ever out of place.
And they never wear sweats either. Like,
no. Yeah.
No one ever wears sweats on a soap opera. That's a whole nother different lane. But one of you watching this, and you having a flashback to watching Erica Kane with your grandma growing up, you're like, Erica Kane's show didn't wear no fabletics or nothing when she was doing. That's a good point. She never wore sweats. She never wore sweats. Exactly. But in terms of storylines for all of the brands, NXT continues to set the trend, at least on the WWE side. I don't know what the hell's going on with Raw. I don't know what's going on with SmackDown. They're just riding this Bayley, Sasha thing till the wheels come off. I'm glad the Iconics are back. But in terms of Raw, I'm still beating the drum, boom, 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 for Shayna Baszler. Stop hating on Shayna Baszler and let her wrestle. Mike, she hasn't even been on TV. She was such a big factor up into the the pay-per-view that just passed, but the one before that. And she can't even get on. They've got Nia Jax into this whole thing still with Asuka, and I'm not feeling it. I'm not feeling it.
The problem with no crowds is that you don't get to, if Daniel Bryan in 2016 or whatever that wild run was where he won the belt at WrestleMania and yada yada, if there was no crowds, that never happens.
True.
Never happens.
Yes.
Because
you can't do the yes movement with no crowds.
It just never happens. So even though the E and Vince, go with who they like and who they know, a lot of times the crowd will tell you who they like and they'll be adjusted.
Right.
But right now, there's no fucking crowd. So, you know what I mean? I hope that they're saving Shayna Baszler. They're sitting her down for a minute to come back with a vengeance when maybe they can, because they don't want to waste feuds or whatever once all the crowds come back and whatnot.
I wonder if this is going to be prolonged even more so, because I've been watching all these stories about these COVID breakouts in Florida. And now, because everybody's been out in these streets acting buck wild like there's no pandemic, their cases are rising and rising and rising. Who knows? Well, we'll get another WWE. They might have to move WWE to like Vegas or something.
I honestly don't think that we're going to be able to see live sports until 2022, probably. I know. And I hope I'm wrong.
Oh, it's terrible. I was watching boxing the other night, and they did a crowdless a fight, but it actually wasn't too bad. It was on ESPN. Yeah. They made up for it by allowing us to hear what was happening in the corners and hearing real instructions. Same with UFC. They've been doing their fights on ESPN, so that's been cool. But yeah, I agree. It's not the same. I went and drove by the stadium here in Inglewood. It's looking amazing. It's mind-blowing to me still that there is a whole ass stadium here in Inglewood, California. Like, if you grew up in California in the 80s, it's mind-blowing.
Don't tell anybody, because I might try to buy a house over there. We might be neighbors, so I need to keep that. There's nothing going on in Inglewood.
Yeah, that's right. You don't even want to move. There's no gentrification going on. It is a den of evil, and we're just ducking gunshots every day. Don't come over.
Yeah.
Do not come over.
No, Inglewood, like in all seriousness, though, Inglewood is going to be the next poppin' city in LA.
Yeah, it's
100%.
It's just looking crazy. It's looking like Santa Monica in some parts.
Yep, it's next to the airport. It's going to be next to the.
What?
Yeah, it's next to the airport. It's next to the stadium. It's centrally located. You can get to downtown LA within 25 minutes or so. Yeah, that's the. I think that's the next. Well, because there is, as you know, LA. There's only so many places we can go.
Oh, so on that note, before we wrap up, I'm gonna just tell a random story. It has nothing to do with wrestling, but it has to do with getting to downtown quickly from this area of town. So I saw a story. I'll cut to the chase. Elon Musk. Apparently, if you've seen the stories, he's trying to build a tunnel that goes underground. That's going to get you, like, you can get from like the beach cities to
Hyperloop
in like 30 seconds or something of that nature. And I remember seeing a news story that there was a house in Hawthorne that had a garage, and this house has an elevator that goes down into this tunnel for testing. And I thought it was just total malarkey. And I saw an actual news story, and the residents who live on this street didn't want their faces shown in the news story. I don't know if Elon Musk told them that they had to have an NDA or whatever, but they were talking to the media. So I drove over there. I found the house. So I went over there, and it looks like your regular hood house. The grass is all dead. There's a work truck parked in the driveway. But this house allegedly has a garage where you drive the car in, and it's a tester for this tunnel, and you can go in and it'll take you to the tunnel, and you can test test it. But it's like the little entry gate, like some Matrix shit of how you can get into the tunnel. So random story. If you don't believe me, Google Hawthorne, like Hawthorne, California, HAWTHORNE, Elon Musk tunnel. So that is.
My old roommate used to work for him, and that's called Hyperloop, and or something along those lines. That's a real thing. That shit is happening.
That's scary. How far did they dig up under the city? That's what I want.
They can only do so much until they get a contract. So what they're trying to do first is to build it between Vegas and LA. Because you don't need to, because most of that is just empty land that you just got to dig a tunnel through, as opposed to people's houses. And you go in it and you drive your car in it, and then your car gets on a fucking platform, and then it shoots it across, and then you drive your car out. So, instead of getting to Vegas in 4 hours, you get there in like 45 minutes, something like crazy like that. Yeah, it's wild.
Season 5. Narcos Season 5, Hawthorne. And that's the big super tunnel highway. The opioid epidemic is going to be going through the Elon Musk tunnel. Don't come knocking on my door, people. I'm just kidding. It's just jokes. These are just jokes. We ha ha ha.
That's right. Ha ha ha.
We just getting these jokes
Don't
off.
listen to us.
So Nate, again, I appreciated all your content this week. It has brought me a lot of laughs. It's brought a lot of joy. So these folks can get down and see you sing. Oh, I'm a single lady. Down and see you do it. Where can they find you?
I am at Nathan Has Skill on all of the things. I have a good time on social media, on Instagram especially. I'm one of those rapper dudes that doesn't take himself too seriously. I like to have a good time. I like to make people laugh. But at the same time, I am daring an MC to talk shit to me because I will then body them. So that makes me even more happy that I put out one image. I'm one image off the mic and a whole nother image on the mic. And I'm gonna actually have a theme song for our show soon. But yes, you can find my stuff on Bandcamp, on Instagram, on SoundCloud at Nathan Has Skill. Colsa the 3 is my most recent record, and I might even have a little quarantine EP coming out after this whole deal, 5 or 6 songs. But yeah, I'm not hard to find. Check me out. And Jay, where can they find you?
You can find me, of course, Giandra LaBeouf on all platforms, Instagram, Twitter. Please go to my channel, Bad Culture TV, and hit subscribe. I really want to get to 10,000 subscribers before the end of the year. I just crossed over 7,600. Thank you to Sweetie's fine ass for people have been looking for Sweetie, and they found my interview with her, and that brought me a lot of subscribers. So shout out to her fine ass. And make sure that you subscribe there. Follow me on Instagram, follow me on Twitter, and make sure that you are following the Illuminerdi on Twitter, the Illuminerdi on Instagram. Visit theilluminerdi.com every single day. If you're not visiting every single day, what are you really doing with your life? And the YouTube channel, there's tons of shows, there's tons of stuff. We got stuff on Twitch. We are everywhere because we are the Illuminerdi. So make sure you follow us. So. Absolutely. That wraps it up for us here on another Sunday night of the Illuminerdi World Order Wrestling Show. I'm Jay LaBeouf. That's Nathan Has Skills. We'll be back next week. Hopefully there won't be any more stories because we ain't got that many wrestlers left. So just hope that everybody keeps it in their pants this week and we can get a decent storyline. And with that, good night.
Appreciate you.